When I got the Nintendo Switch OLED in June, there were really three games I wanted to play most. Number one, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, because the idea of Jigglypuff roundhousing Cloud Strife in the face sounded funny. Number two, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which I haven't played yet, but I'm not really ready for it to engulf and take over my life for a month yet. And number three, three words, Super Mario Odyssey. Whether you're a fan of video games or not, you probably know who Mario is. Your electrician probably knows who Mario is. Probably your grandma knows who he is. He is a pioneer and icon in gaming culture. Truthfully, I'm not the biggest Mario fan by any means. The most I played of Mario is literally consisting of Mario Kart 8 at my friend's house, the original Mario Brothers, and Mario Kart 7 on my 3DS, I think, which I can't really check anymore because my 3DS looks like an airbag, so yeah. But when I played Super Mario Odyssey for the first time this year, it was such a brilliant and fulfilling experience. Never have I seen a 3D platformer filled with so much charm, personality, and at its core, how fun it is. Super Mario Odyssey is one of the best 3D platformers I have ever played, and really, it's much more than that. It's an experience, a journey that takes Mario's best strengths from his multiple games and plumps it into a full crazy 3D adventure that is both extremely ambitious while being creative in almost every sector of its gameplay. It introduces bold new ideas and executes them in a way where it feels like the series always contained those same big bold ideas. And it's still at its core, like a traditional Mario game. Everything from its exploration to its new gameplay style, it's masterful. And the idea of Mario having a talking hat on his head that when thrown onto anything would give you full control of that same thing is both hilarious and sounds like a therapeutic dream, but also still an amazing gameplay function that is so innovative and fun to perform. This game is truly a once in a decade experience that should be played at least once by the casual gamer. So let's explore many kingdoms, defeat Bowser for the 100th time, and possess multiple creatures with a sentient hat in this mediocre review. Now, I know that Mario games essentially don't have any sense of any narrative structure whatsoever, but the premise is actually pretty interesting here, and I think it deserves a shout. The game starts off piping hot, with Mario and Bowser facing off for God knows how many times on his ship. This time, Bowser is wearing a funny outfit, but this time the end route is not really what you think, because Big Boy Bowser here absolutely embraces him inner Mike Tyson and literally sends Mario off into another kingdom, which is crazy, and it's called Bonneton, a kingdom inhabited by strange little sentient hats. Mario meets one of these hats named Cappy, which explains that his sister almost got caught along with Princess Peach, so to serve as tiara for a brand new wedding, Bowser was planning to marry Peach. So Mario and Cappy team up, collect power moons to travel on a new ship called the Odyssey, and travel the world spanning multiple kingdoms never seen before, chasing Bowser, which while he steals an item from every kingdom to create his ultimate wedding. Now, the narrative. It's alright. There is definitely not anything outstanding to point out because it's a Mario game, but the narrative actually looked interesting rather than a faint objective in the background. It actually carried some weight, some story beats, and while it isn't a whole entire story, it still has enough meat on the bone to further engage the player. The twist on the formula is very little, but its twist on the day-old formula of saving Princess Peach is fresh enough to make it feel replayable, if that makes sense. And yeah, the ending of this game, without spoiling it, has gotta be one of the best endings I've ever experienced in a video game. The story is there to accompany what really is the main part of the game, the main aspect, the whole entire reason this game is as good as it is. Its gameplay. Mario games have really always had brilliant gameplay. It's the source of the experience, and the fun fact of this game in general, the 3D games really just showcase the gameplay genius of Mario itself. Mario Galaxy, Mario Sunshine, and most importantly, all these Super Mario 64 were all excellent in terms of its gameplay structure. And what Mario Odyssey does is it takes what made them great and uses it as pillars of its success. One pillar is, well, the gimmick of the game. In each and every 3D Mario game, there's a little gimmick to spice up the main idea of the platforming. Mario Sunshine had a water cannon, and when Mario couldn't get wonky enough, Mario knocked on Newton's door, threw an apple at him, and gave gravity. The gimmick in Mario Odyssey is, in his latest adventure, is a hat. A sentient talking hat, that is. This new journey of Mario is trademarked by his new gameplay sidekick, Cappy. A hat. And that particular hat can actually capture certain creatures and enemies by making them Italian. So, when in control of these certain creatures and enemies, you gain their unique abilities and skills, and control their movement to your advantage. Each creature you can capture is unique and different from each other. You could be in control of a frog, which grants you the ability to jump to platforms that couldn't be reached before, or an Easter Island statue granting you the ability to see secret paths invisible to the naked eye, by just adjusting your sunglasses, or even a human. Mario has gone off the deep end. Each capture has abilities that will both help you in specific levels or get specific power moons. The pure vast nature of this mechanic is so amazing. Each capture is a treat to see what they can do and how it's incorporated in the game. It shakes up the gameplay loop throughout the entire game just because it emits something fresh every minute at every platform. It's such a creative gimmick created to utter perfection, and it kind of replaces the power-ups, to be honest, because it really just levels the platforming. You know, the platforming for this game is absolutely outstanding. It's one of the most fun platformers I've ever played. Mario is a platformer, and Odyssey doesn't stray from that. Instead, it uses that foundation and polishes it to perfection, unlike every other company. And the platforming is genius here, just pure genius. Using a hat to power up multiple platforming mechanics. You want to fling up to a higher area? Throw the hat on a fork and it'll do just that. Do you want to clear out an area you can't access? Well, be a tank just like any other American. Otherwise, the hat mechanic is greatly put into the platforming, giving variety rather than repeatedly pressing jump. You can use your hat like a double jump or to get up to higher areas. The way you throw it can be used for multiple platforming mechanics. It's endless possibilities. The basic structure of the platforming, though, is still brilliant like it was before. The movement and controls of this game is really smooth and satisfying. It's such an integral yet so simple part of the game. Mario feels great to play as. Its controls and every step or turn feels responsive and smooth. Mario actually has an arsenal of movement variety. He can run, he can jump not once, but 3 times. He can spin, he can dive, he can somersault both backwards and forwards, because why not? He can ground jump, spin. It's so many moves to continuously play the game for hours. It can also be used with motion controls, which I actually really enjoyed. And yeah, it can be inconsistent, but I thought it was really immersive and really showcased the power of the Switch. The level design Mario moves around is really good. Each level is an endlessly creative adventure, from puzzle mechanics to jump timing to underwater levels. The creativity is masterful here. Each level is designed with passion, and yes, I would admit it's very, very easy. The combat is very bare bones, like really, really bare bones, but that doesn't matter really in this game. Because since it's such a forgiving game, if you die, you just lose a couple of coins. But what's good about it is you have fun with the game, if that makes sense. It does have a sense of challenge, but it's also a relaxing, fun game to sit back on. It's challenging, but not to the point of frustration. It's changing, but not to the point of being overwhelmed. The level design contributes a lot, and yeah, I have talked about the 2D themed Mario levels. Wait, I haven't talked about that. Whoever is in the development team thought of this idea needs an award. It's such a beautiful platforming mechanic with all the same controls, style, and bliss from the original 2D Mario games. It's such a nice way to honor the old 2D games, and I love every way the levels can change depending on the world. And a lot of other level variety was really good. The underwater levels were really shallow, but it was still fun. Hopping around sand dunes in Toast Arena was amazing, and conquering a variety of puzzles was extremely challenging and fun. There's so many mechanics so effortlessly winded into one, giving an adventure every time. The gameplay is really good and it's easy, but if you want it, it could become more difficult. Almost every level in this game is loaded with charm, loads of way it introduces new mechanics, and it is smooth and satisfying, and really the most important factor, it's fun. You know what else is fun? This meme.
So long, Bowser. 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 So long, Bowser.
If you're expecting really anything outstanding from this area in the game, it's just not happening. Not happening, mate. It's a Mario game, not Sekiro, not Dark Souls, not Elden Ring. It's just pure Mario boss bliss, and it does really well in terms of that. The boss fights are very, very easy, aside from some. I would appreciate a little bit more challenge, but it's really fine as it is. But some of the bosses' designs are really just a little bit finicky. There's a lot of bosses that really don't have any good or real design at all, to be honest. A lot of them are pretty fun, giving both challenges while keeping you engaged, but some are just way too narrow. For example, the rabbits, or the brutals as they call it, are hilariously underwhelming. Their boss fights are really walks in the parks, and really doesn't give much of a fun factor at all because of it. Some boss fights though, other than the brutals, are really magnificent. The boss fights are just my main complaint about this game. It's really one of the main complaints I have about this game, because while some are really engaging and great, the others, fighting deranged rabbits and is uninteresting at the same time, isn't really engaging and great. But to another aspect of the game, we have to just go to where this game all started, where this game excels the most: the worlds. This is both my biggest love about the game and my biggest complaint. On one hand, the world is so varied in atmosphere, art direction, and really the things to do. But on the other hand, some worlds can be shallow and severely underdeveloped. But think of this, and this is a little FF7 lesson here. It's really just pizza. And for those who don't eat the crust, this is an extremely great metaphor. So 85% of the pizza is good, but the crust is the remaining 15%, which is bad. So when you apply that to Mario Odyssey, it's exactly what I feel about this game. So first of all, let's talk about the things I loved about the game, or the worlds. So the worlds, brilliant. As I said before, they are all distinct from each other, rather than just being carbon copies with a new coat of paint. They have varying locations, varying size, and a varying atmosphere. All of them are beautiful in their own way, and it was literally an absolute joy to explore them. I never got bored exploring the game's worlds, because countless and countless times I was just amazed at the amount of charm and jubilation the worlds had. The sand atmosphere in Toast Arena to scaling skyscrapers in New Donk City, each world is a plethora of personality and fun. They are all detailed and designed beautifully. The Sea Kingdom is relaxing, while Fossil Falls is beautifully breathtaking. Each world has its own captures and obstacles to discover and scale. So, what are in these worlds? Well, a lot. If you love side quests and collecting, you'd be crazy to see how many endless collectibles there are. Mario games have always had collectibles, and this time it's called Power Moons in Odyssey. They're moons that differ in color for each kingdom that in the game will power up your ship to unlock more kingdoms. And there are a lot of them. Like, a lot of them. The different multiple ways you can get these power moons are absolutely plentiful. You can try to knock out a rabbit, you can participate in a trivia questionnaire with an Egyptian statue, and even gather golden seeds. There are really a lot of ways to get power moons. It's endlessly creative and has endlessly so many possibilities. It's fun finding all of these in a tight little corner, or even finding them using an RC car. Another huge way to find power moons is finding levels. In multiple areas, there are pipes that can take you to a multiple unique levels where there's always one power moon if you complete the level, and always a secret one hidden throughout the level. Each level relates to the world or a gimmick from a capture, and there are a lot of them to get through. It embodies the discovery factor by filling up the fun factor. Multiple of the ways you can find these power moons carry over to multiple worlds too. Catching the rabbit is seen throughout every world in the game, and seeing a statue asking questions is also seen throughout the game. Some may call it repetitive, which sure it is, but I think it actually keeps the adventure at its peak. You see all the familiar side quests while finding these new gimmicky ones throughout every world. It gives a sense of feeling at home and discovery, or maybe that's just me. And I love the ways that you can find power moons in this game. It's absolutely amazing. But from that, it leads to another path in the Fork Road. There are a lot of power moons. I'm not a guy who complains about collectibles because I love collecting stuff. I'm not a completionist by any means, but collecting stuff in games just gives that dash of dopamine you need in the morning. But damn, 880 power moons, that is literally, and I mean literally 8 times more than Mario Galaxy. 8 times! I'm a little bit soft on this criticism because I really love how they handle power moons in this game, but some and a lot are just filler, and absolute filler. They're just in like tight areas that really don't have any absolute challenge at all, or even just finding them behind something. It's just filler, and there's way too many of those filler ones. And while seeing familiar side quests is good, it can also become repetitive also. The game still just bounces back from that, even with that, because the exploration in this game is still really fun. And it ties into its customization as well, which forgives the power moon craziness. The coins you collect throughout levels aren't useless in this game, but rather are used as an incentive to customize Mario and his ship. You can find coins which can buy unique costumes, hats, and for the ship, you can buy souvenirs, stickers, statues. The game is endlessly customizable. It's so fun collecting these coins and finding costumes and mixing and matching to render a Mario that can be hilarious or as simple as possible. You wanna make Mario look like the captain of a ship? Go ahead. You wanna make Mario look like a samurai from Sekiro? Go ahead. You wanna make Mario look like he's gonna invest in some stocks? Well, go ahead. The customization is limitless, and it's just not just at coins. There are also unique coins at every world, which are purple, which could buy exclusive items for the world shop. For example, the Ice Kingdom bears a cool jacket to buy, while New Donk City bears a fedora to wear. The customization is beautiful and really makes you feel like you're traveling rather than playing. Also, remember when I said about 15% of the world were a little bit under par? Now that's what we're talking about right now. I don't know why, but even with the insanely high quality of the kingdoms and worlds, some also fall short of this qualitative nature. Some areas can be really underdeveloped and shallow. For example, Tostarena, the Sand Kingdom, is absolutely beautiful and I love it, but in little sections here and there, it can be empty and really nothing much to do. The developers really packed a lot of worlds with charm and distinctive nature, but only in specific areas. Some areas of worlds can be rendered as pretty underwhelming. This is my main complaint. I love exploring these kingdoms. I really do. But I just wished some were a bit bigger, some are small, and some are condensed. It's a shame because the worlds itself are really unique and embraces exploration, but some feel like filler. But regardless, what Mario Odyssey does best is make these worlds fun, and even if some fall short, it still has the quality a Mario game has, even if some don't match up. The content in these worlds are still plentiful and ramp up even post game. So hours and hours of fun await. So it just achieves what's the main goal of the game's worlds, is to incentivize exploration. And they did just that.
But wait, there's more.
The music. Wow. Given I love video game music to the point where it's seeping through into my music playlist for Cloud's sake. Okay, damn, I think it's already engulfed my music playlist at this point. I even made a whole video on it. How's that plugin? So when Mario Odyssey soundtrack started playing, all I heard was utter perfection. Great pieces of music thrown at you consistently throughout multiple worlds. The wonders of the main theme to a calm sea theme. Mario Odyssey soundtrack both set its vibrant tone for each world and is literally instrumental magic. Every instrument, from trumpets to horns to violins, play their part perfectively in each and every song in the soundtrack. I find myself just sitting, leaving the game on as my ears soak in the tune that is Odyssey soundtrack. I love its personality, I love how it's incorporated into the world, and I love how it embodies what Mario is doing right now. He's on an adventure. It's such a great piece of music individually, and dare I mention New Donk City? All in all, Mario Odyssey is a masterpiece that puts one factor above all: fun. While not groundbreaking, it builds upon its earlier titles by taking it one step further. Its charm, gameplay, worlds, music, and art direction embody the character's legacy by being absolutely masterful. While there are flaws like repeatable collectibles and worlds, there are still a bunch of things about this game that is truly masterful. This is a journey, not a video game. and it's become one of my favorite journeys of all time. So that's why, for this amazing game, it will be getting a 9.5 out of 10. And that's the end of another mediocre review.